Welcome back to the show, Reds. It's a new season. This is the Shankly Sessions, the Liverpool podcast we bring you as part of the upper tier, as you well know at this stage. Of course, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button and drop a like on the video. Big season coming up, post-Klopp era. Arne Slot in the hot seat now. Going to be very interesting to see how this all pans out. A lot of wave of anxiety out there at the moment in the fan base, as we spoke about as well. People really concerned about the lack of signings, the lack of support for Arne Slot, Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes, lots of talk of the usual FSG out stuff and all that, all trending out there as we know. Again, another difficult window for us in terms of finding a solution to that number 6 and getting that number 6 in. We thought we had it with Zubamendi, but it fell apart and it's not going to happen. So, of course, as Liverpool does, we often pivot to a different position, or at least that's how it looks. New goalkeeper coming in, potentially going back out on loan as well. And a lot of anxiety about that as well, that why are we doing this? Why are we signing a goalkeeper? Blah, 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 blah. I'm sure all these things were in the picture anyway, apart from Zubamendi. And we've often spoken about future-proofing the squad for future and all that kind of stuff, and in the past it hasn't necessarily happened. We often strengthen from a position of weakness. We rarely strengthen from a position of positivity when we're on a winning streak and all that kind of stuff. So really difficult, and this is typically of what we do. Do I think we will still get signings in? I think there's either 14 or 15 days to go. I still think we will make signings. Will we get in the DM that we want? Probably doubtful at the moment, because they did come out and say that Zubamendi was the only one, which is really crazy to be honest. But obviously, if we're going to trust in Michael Edwards coming in and Richard Hughes coming in, then we have to trust that, and we have to accept the fact that they've obviously looked, they know about Ederson, they looked at Palhinha, they know about all these different DMs out there, and obviously Zubamendi was the guy. He was the guy that they wanted. They got the green light to say they were going to get him. They went in, they did the business, and it just didn't work out. The guy didn't want to leave. One thing I've noticed about Liverpool is we're not as secretive these days as we have been in the past in the way we go about our business, where normally there's very little talk and very little release to the journos and stuff like that, and all of a sudden it's boom, there they are holding the shirt, and the journos can do their piece. Fabrizio, Paul Joyce, James Pearce, all these guys. Now we're kind of leaking information out there all the time, and it's a little bit concerning from that point of view, because we were always very shrewd in the way we went around our business that way and stuff, But we are here anyway to do a preview. It's the first game of the season. Of course it was going to be a 12:30 kickoff, wasn't it? Not only because they pin us with these 12:30 kickoffs, but because, based on information on the report the other day, we are the most watched team. So obviously we're going to be put in a position of where we're going to fit other time zones around the world and stuff like that to watch these games. So 12:30 kickoff. Interesting match off the Portman Road against the Tractor Boys, Ipswich Town. Kieran McKenna in there doing an absolutely stellar job. What an unbelievable job he did last season in the Championship. Has come in here into the Premier League. They've had a sprinkling of players have come in. Sammy Smodics is supposed to be going in there today. He's doing a medical and stuff like that. Omari Hutchinson has gone in as well. So some interesting signings. I think they've brought in something with it. With Smodics, they'll have brought in 10 signings. 10 new signings for Kieran McKenna to deal with and shuffle around and see what way he's going to shuffle the pack with Ipswich this season. It's going to be a difficult season for them. There's no doubt about it. But fabulous to have Ipswich back in the Premier League as well. Always exciting when some of these historical clubs come back in to see what it's like, these days. But it should be an interesting time, to say the least. Obviously, a lot of firsts in this. Obviously, Ipswich back in. Arne Slot's first 12:30 kickoff. Arne Slot's first competitive game in the Premier League, so he's going to get a real taste of it. And what a ground to go to as well. Ipswich is home ground. Going to be a boisterous atmosphere, to say the least. In terms of Liverpool, pre-season has been an interesting one. We've had a really strong pre-season. Obviously got off to a poor start with the Preston game, but if you park that and you park the Las Palmas second game in a day and all that kind of stuff, all the others have been really good, really solid, and against good opposition as well. So what does that mean going into the season? Well, what it means is we've had a number of players that have come back late. Obviously, they had extended breaks because of the Euros, and it was mostly disappointing the team, plus the Copa America. So we hadn't seen Diaz, we barely seen McAllister, Van Dijk was gone, Alisson was gone, Robbo was gone, Trent was gone, Joe Gomez was gone, to name but a few. Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota, so some of them came back on a staggered kind of basis and stuff like that, but He's had probably about maybe 8 to 10 days with the whole squad. Team news coming out at the moment is there's no injuries to worry about at the moment. He has a full complement of players to pick from. The only one is Bobby Clark, of course, and we wish him well, going out on a deal to RB Salzburg over to Pep Linders. 10 million, I think, rising to 17 million or something like that. Great move for the lad. Really sad to see him go. He's one that I thought would have a big future at Liverpool, and that could still happen in the future. And we've also secured a sell-on clause as well, so that's good news. Good news for the lad. He's going to be out there playing good competitive football. He gets a move, we get what we want, and potentially in the future the boy could come back and do wonders for us. Let's see what happens there. So let's talk about the team. What are we going to put out here? What is the team? What's Arne Slot's first competitive Premier League team going to be? And of course, there's no doubt Alisson Becker will be in goals. I'd be shocked if he wasn't. I think he'll probably go with the tried and tested. So I don't think there's going to be any kind of weird or wonderful things that he's going to pick from here. I suppose the only difference you would think in the 6, he's probably going to put Gravenberch in there because he's come in and he's done it in pre-season and he's looked decent. And again, I don't mean that is the solution to the problem in the DM situation, but that's what we're cards that we are dealt. So at the back, I think he'll go with Trent. Not sure on Konate or Kwanzaa what way he's going to go with that. Obviously, he's seen a lot more of Kwanzaa and likes him. Konate kind of, again, only coming back from the Euros, he mightn't have seen enough of him. But that's the kind of one that's kind of maybe a little bit up in the air. Does he go with Kwanzaa because of pre-season, or does he go with Konate? Either way, I'm okay with it. My love for Jarell Kwanzaa. I think he is the guy, certainly. Virgil van Dijk's going to be in there, of course. Our captain, we heard him talking about a week ago, and he was talking about there hasn't been any kind of contract talk, and he expects signings to come in and stuff like that. And I think a lot of this season, when we talk about those contract renewals like Trent, Van Dijk and Salah and stuff, that a lot of will be how this season pans out, what ambition FSG show and the club, what signings we make, all that kind of stuff. Has it ran its course? Is it a new era? It's going to be so different to the Klopp era. And how will these boys feel about that? Will they look the pastures new? Or is the club looking at this and going, yeah, well, we got what we want out of these boys, we'll run the contracts down and we'll let them go out and stuff like that. Should the club be giving contracts out 3-4 years, 300 grand a week to lads in their 30s? I don't know. Maybe they want to go in a different direction. Let's wait and see what happens there. But let's not focus on that. Let's focus on the season starting, and let's focus on getting 3 points on the board and getting off to a winning start under Arne Slot. Robbo in the left back position, I would imagine. Then you're looking at a midfield of Dominic Szoboszlai, of course, Gravenberch in the 6, McAllister in the 8. I do not want to see Alexis McAllister in the 6 at any stage this season. If I do, I will absolutely lose my shit. I don't want to see it, because what we sacrifice by putting him in the 6 and what we gain, there's a massive outbalance there and stuff like that. So I don't want to see Mac in the 6, because the problem with putting Mac in the 6 is you're going to piss him off, and next summer we could even lose him. He might look for a move away into Spain or something like that, which could happen anyway, because we know this is the way it goes when the South American boys reach a certain level of success. We've seen it with Luis Diaz being linked to Barcelona and various things like that as well. So it could happen. Let's not force that by making silly decisions this season. And up front, I think you go with Mo on the right, who's had a real good pre-season. Diogo Jota looks like he's back on form and stuff like that. Please stay fit, Diogo. Please stay fit. We need those Diogos. Diogo Jota in the middle and Luis Diaz on the left. Luis Diaz again shown good signs in pre-season as well, but again there's that atmosphere above him and stuff like that with the father making all these different connotations, if you like, about moving and stuff like that. So that hangs over us. So yeah, we are going into the season probably we would have wanted to see a sprinkling of talent going in there. And that's a difficulty in the market as well. And I think what's ratcheting up the anxiety as well is the fact that we're seeing West Ham signing players and Aston Villa signing players and Chelsea. Well, Chelsea's just different gravy. Forget about that. But if you look at a lot of the sides that were in and around it last year, look at Man City. Haven't done a huge amount of business really. Savinho's come in. Alvarez has gone out. You look at Arsenal, who have been crying out for a striker now for about 3 years to push them over the line and stuff like that. Still hasn't happened. Talked of Usherman and Gyökeres and all this kind of stuff, but it hasn't happened as of yet. And then you look at ourselves. We've literally just signed no one. Maybe might get this keeper over the line now or something like that, but we haven't really signed anyone and stuff like that. But what happens is we have a really, really good squad there, and we're trying to find some of these key signings to go in there. Obviously, we could do with a refreshing kind of situation at left back or a left-sided centre-back. We would like to bring in a proper world-class six. Obviously, Subamendi would have been that. And we seen what happened when we brought Fabinho in, how it just released that midfield to go do that thing, because he was the sitting guy, and how that affected the front line and all that kind of stuff. So Subamendi would have been electric from that point of view and stuff like that. But it didn't happen. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. We heard that there is issues with his contract with Sociedad, that maybe Sociedad may not be giving him what they promised him to get him over the line and turn his head and stuff like that. But we'll keep an eye on that and see what happens. I wouldn't be holding out much hope for it. But I think we have a much stronger side. I think we should go to Ipswich, go to Portman Road. Be really Portman Road, I should say. We should be really, really positive. Portman Road, that's in Dublin. Good Lord. We should be really, really positive about going there in terms of our football and stuff like that. I think probably for the 2 hours tomorrow, really, we should just, park a bit of the anxiety and stuff like that at the moment in relation to signings and stuff like that. Get behind the boys, get behind Arne. Let's kick off the season in a positive way. Go out and put on a real performance. That's what I expect from the boys. I'm expecting a big scoreline as well. I'm thinking somewhere in the region of maybe 4-1 or 4-0. We might sacrifice a goal, who knows. Let's see what happens. But I think we will pour the pressure on. I think we'll suffocate them, as Arne wants to do with our passing. I think we'll control large pockets of the game. I think Ipswich at times will have to sit in and stuff like that. And it'll be interesting to see at times where we found it difficult to unlock these teams that sometimes sit in under the clapper and stuff like that. Let's see what Arne's approach is and stuff like that. And let's see. I'm also interested to see tomorrow as well. If the game is not potentially getting unlocked and we haven't put a few goals in and got a lead and stuff like that, how does he change it from a sub's point of view, and tactically how does he change it to get us over the line and get that win under the belt, that first win, which is so important to get off to a positive start this season. So I'm going for either 4-0 or a 4-1, somewhere in around that, but I think there's a lot of goals in there for us tomorrow. I think Jota's going to get on the score sheet. I think Salah's going to get off that new look on Salah, which I really, really like. The shaved head, real aerodynamic. Is he going to get that yard of pace back by taking the hair off and stuff like that? Bit of crack. Let's see what happens. But really looking forward to it. Looking forward to Luis Diaz's attitude on the pitch tomorrow as well, and has Arne spoke to him? At times he hangs on to the ball too long and stuff like that. Has that conversation been had? Have they done stuff on the training field to get him to release it quicker and stuff like that? And are we going to see a return of some of these overlapping runs that were so successful for us? Robbo going on the outside of Diaz, Trent inverting in and also going on the outside of Mo Salah. Are we going to see a lot of that tomorrow as well? Certainly this is the game that would set up for it and stuff like that. So let's see what happens, Reds, but it could be exciting times ahead. Wouldn't it be a madness if we didn't refresh the side and we went on to win some silverware this year? Good Lord, that wouldn't be just the craziest thing ever. Plus, you never know. We could be looking at a situation where we do like a January signing. I know last January I had said on podcast that if we signed 1 or 2 players, we might have gotten over the line on the league, and maybe that's why we fell away. Notwithstanding the Klopp leaving party and all that weight that was carried on the shoulders of players as well. But in January we could refresh, and let's see what happens. Now, maybe the market might be a little bit different, stuff like that. But don't necessarily, a lot of content going out there at the moment from creators go, we're signing a goalkeeper, why didn't we get a fucking 6 and all this kind of thing. It was probably all in on the plan, and the goalkeeper was probably in there as well. So it's not that we have pivoted from a 6 to a goalkeeper. I'm sure this was part of the plan. Trying to remain somewhat positive, but I want to get back and just enjoy the football, really, because I just think this summer has been so jarring. The Euros was just fucking, it wasn't anywhere near what we wanted it to be, you know what I mean? And it just set the tone. Plus the transfer window being linked with every man under the sun, not getting these contract renewals done and them all coming up together and all that kind of thing. I've no doubt some of these contract renewals will happen. I don't think there's a whole lot we can do if Trent's head is turned. If Trent wants to go to Real Madrid and that's where he sees he wants to go, and you know, if Jude has convinced him maybe to go and stuff like that, then so be it. What can we do about that? It's kind of like the Zubamendi situation. You know, if we weren't able to turn his head to leave Sociedad, what can we do? We can't kidnap the guy, you know what I mean? So let's see what happens there. I think Trent's heart will outweigh his head, but I think Trent is one of those guys, no doubt a future Liverpool captain, absolute Liverpool legend. I think Trent will want to see his career at Liverpool, but again, I stress the ambition of FSG and the work that Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes does is going to be pivotal for these guys deciding whether they want to stay or not. That's the conundrum we're in at the moment, Reds. I know it's tough. I know we're looking at teams around us strengthening and stuff like that. I know we're seeing players coming in and questions being asked. Why didn't we go for him? Why weren't we in for him? And all this kind of stuff. Well, can't be in for everyone. I'm sure Edwards has a plan. I'm sure we will get signings in. I'll be disappointed as much as anyone if we don't. But as I say to people all the time, it's Liverpool FC all the time, not Player FC. And that's what's most important to me. So let's go. Let's give the season a good whack. It's the start, 9 months ahead. I'm sure there's going to be anxiety. I'm sure there's going to be positivity. I'm sure there's going to be negativity. I'm sure we're going to drop some clangers. I'm sure we're going to have some outstanding moments. But we are Liverpool Reds, and let's do this. Until next time, folks, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button and drop a like in the video. You'll see the graphics in the video as you go along for the team selection and all that kind of stuff. And drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit a like on the video, hit that bell notification. I will be back tomorrow, probably do a drive time reaction to the show because I'm in work tomorrow. So probably on the way home I'll do a drive time reaction to the Ipswich match. Praying for 3 points, definitely going to happen. Come on Reds, let's do this.